All right. Hello, and welcome to today's Info2Go webinar on the wonderful resources available to you online from the Library of Congress. My name is Annie Gaines, and I am the CE consultant at the Idaho Commission for Libraries. This webinar is being recorded, and we've muted all participants, but please feel free to use the chat box to ask questions. And on behalf of the Institute of Museum and Library Services and the Idaho Commission for Libraries, it's my pleasure to welcome Dana Bell, Education Resource Specialist at the Library of Congress. Take it away, Dana.
Hello, and I am thrilled to be with you. What I'm going to do is share my screen in just a second and give you kind of a tour around the Library of Congress. If you have questions, please put them in the chat box, and I've asked Annie to wave at me if there's a problem, and we'll go from there. I'm looking forward to showing you resources that you can use if you're going through the Library of Congress, things that you can share with your colleagues, and other resources that you can share with your patrons as well. Okay, so you should be seeing my first slide of my PowerPoint. My hope is that what I'm going to be able to do is go with you live. And we'll keep our fingers crossed and see if that happens. Okay. I had the Library of Congress screen up right before we started, but the system decided to knock me off just a few minutes before we started. So we're here at the library's website. The URL is www.loc.gov. And I'm going to show you around. Again, if you have questions, please let me know. The library's website's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year unless it goes down, and it has been known to do that. And Annie has a question for me.
Dana, we're just seeing your slides, not the website right now.
Oh, okay. That's weird. I have it shared to screen. I have it shared for screen. So let me see what's going on.
You might have to share screen and then select the browser specifically to share that.
Got it. Do you see it now? Yay. All right. Sometimes the technology gods do not smile upon me. So anyway, this is the URL for the library's website, and it's www.loc.gov. What I want to do is kind of go through and show you what's on the homepage, and then go into some things a little more deeply. What you're seeing up top is the slideshow that shows you what's new and exciting that's happening at the library. For example, when the coronavirus hit, we decided that we needed to provide resources for those people who were at home, who had children that they were working with, or were looking for things to excite them as they were going about their day. So we have a section of the website now called Library of Congress Engage. So you can access, for example, Dave Pilkey at home, and he's doing a video every Friday where he's highlighting how to draw some of the people from some of the figures from his Dog Man series. Our ambassador for young people's literature, Jason Reynolds, has a series of videos and a newsletter called Grab the Mic, and he's encouraging students to do reading and to do writing, either poetry or stories or other things. and it's very cool. Their videos are very, very short and engaging. We also have the Best of the National Book Festival. So we record all the authors that have come to the National Book Festival, and we make those recordings available online. But every day we're picking one that might be of interest. And every Friday we focus in on children's authors. For those of you who have people who like to engage with documents, we have something called By the People, which is a volunteer transcription program where you can actually transcribe historical documents to help make them accessible. And we also have the archives, the Folklife Archives Challenge, where we're encouraging people to find recordings or find songs that are on the American Folklife Center and perform them and make them available online. Finally, from my office, we do online office hours every Tuesday and Thursday, and we also have a series of webinars. I'll talk about those more shortly, but these are open to all the things that I'm showing you are open to anyone who's interested in accessing our resources. So I'm taking you back to the home page, and I'm scrolling down, and I'm highlighting some of our trending resources. For example, the new app that puts the digital collections and the digital treasures of the library and makes them available online. Links to other videos, performances, lectures that you can share with your patrons and use either now while we're all kind of still, some of around here in DC, we're still under lockdown. But in Idaho, if you guys are beginning to open up and your library is open up and you're looking for something to share with your patrons, you can share this presentation. We'll also highlight shortly Congress.gov, which is how you can access legislative information from the library. One thing I will point out now, and I will point out at the end, is if you have additional questions, if you need assistance with resources, we do have an Ask a Librarian service. And you can access any of the reading rooms and some of the offices here. For example, if you want me, I am the Teacher Resources Ask a Librarian. And we have a correspondence policy that says we have to give you a response in 5 business days. That doesn't mean an answer, it does mean a response. One thing you need to be aware of is that sometimes, and as librarians and as technicians, you may know this already, sometimes it takes more than a minute to answer a question. If you want to know about the adventures of calendar plates, I can tell you about that particular question that took me a long time to respond. But for teacher resources, we try to respond within 5 business days and give links to resources that teachers, librarians, students can use in classroom activities. And last but certainly not least, for those of you who have patrons that come in and say, I need images, I need resources that are in the public domain, we have a feature at the bottom of the web page every day where you can see material that's free to use and reuse that we know is in the public domain. Each month we focus in on a specific topic. This month it's horses. So you can go in, click on this particular item, and it takes you to the bibliographic record and the ways that you can download it, from a simple small GIF all the way to a huge TIFF. And we have many, 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 many other free to use and reuse sets. Everything from maps to genealogy to posters and baseball cards. And all of these are available and in the public domain for you to use. I will give you the hint that next month, the free to reuse set is going to be related to weddings. But it's a wonderful resource that you can use to make the collections available to your colleagues and to your patrons. So we've gone up to the top page, the back up to the top of the home page. And what I want to do next is go into the materials that are down here. You can access our online catalog. You can access links to our various reading rooms. But where I want to start is our digital collections. The one question that we get, it probably more than any question, is everything in the Library of Congress digitized? Sadly, the answer is no. So we do provide access to our digital collections. Probably about 3% of the collections are available online, and you can use them, go through the collections, find resources. What I want to do is start with Chronicling America. And Chronicling America is a project that's done with the National Endowment for the Humanities to provide access to, oh, hi Annie.
Hi, we have a question. Do you offer digitization services to libraries?
We only offer digitization services where we have a collaborative relationship, and we've had a few of those in the past. So unfortunately, at present, we don't offer digitization services to libraries. I'm sure that our preservation office would be able to help you find places that will help you if you have a digitization project. And I know that the Northwest, there are two archival organizations that service Idaho. One is the Northwest Archivists, and I can't give you the URL off the top of my head. And the other one is called the Intermountain Archivist. And I bet that if you talk to the folks that are involved with those organizations, and there are a couple of very good archivists that are in Idaho, Montana, Washington State, even Alaska, you would be able to work with them and perhaps get material digitized. Let's try that again. So that would be my answer to your question. But if you write to our preservation office, they may be able to give you ideas on where to get digitization services as well.
Great,
So,
thank you.
no problem. So back to Chronicling America. This is a collaboration between us and the National Endowment for the Humanities to make available historic newspapers that would not be found in ProQuest or some of the other commercial databases. So you can search across these newspapers for the years 1789 to 1963. You can search across all the states or just for your particular state. So if you wanted to look for a topic related to Idaho, you could do that. But Another cool thing that you can do is you can go to the advanced search and choose a specific state and focus your search a little more deeply so that if you want to find a certain word or phrase that's within 5 or 10 words of each other, you can do that, or a specific phrase, or limit to a specific date range. You can also look and see which newspapers are available for a specific state, and I'll do Idaho. And these are all the newspapers. You can browse a specific issue. You can see what the earliest issue is, the latest issue. And if you click where it says more info, and I'm going to click here for the Boise News, you can get the title changes, subjects, and also a paragraph that gives you information about the newspaper. And you can see our partner for this project was the Idaho State Historical Society. So you can go to them and ask them for additional questions. And they may also be a good resource in terms of finding places to do digitization. So I'm going to go back to the Chronicling America homepage and show you one more thing, and that's the recommended topics. And the staff that do Chronicling America have gone in and chosen specific topics. You can look at a list by alphabetical, by subject category, or by date range. So I'm going to pick subject category, pick natural wonders, and look at the influenza epidemic of 1918. And what we do is we give you a timeline, sometimes longer or shorter depending on the item. And then we also give you search strategies. For example, you may want to search using grip or la grippe or Pfeiffer's bacillus. And then we give you links to specific articles that may be of interest. And you'll notice that the red indicates where the word or phrase, in this case probably influenza, is highlighted within the article. And you can zoom in so you can actually read the article. And you can clip so that you can look at a specific piece of an article. For example, I'm going to clip here. And that way you can print out the article if you want. Okay. Any questions at this point, or is everybody good? Excellent. All righty. So I'm going to come out of Chronicling America and go into digital collections again. And I'm going to choose another presentation that I think might be of interest. And this is the Historic American Building Survey, Historic American Engineering Record, and Historic American Landscape Survey. And this is a project that's done by the National Park Service. And what they do is they travel around the United States documenting historic buildings, roads, bridges, towers, and gardens and landscapes, some of which have been destroyed, to ensure that they have been kept for the record. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to search for Idaho. And it tells me there are 455 items within this collection. Now, if I wanted to, I could certainly search through all 455 55 items. Hi, Annie.
Hi, I got a question. Do the buildings have to be on the National Register to be in this collection?
No.
Okay. Thank
That
you.
was easy. I like that. So what I'm going to do is, I don't always like to use list. So what I do is switch over to gallery. And that allows me to see more images. And then if you don't want to look at all 455 items, you can limit by location. Click on more locations to see what's available. Or by specific subjects. And again, there is a more subjects available. So I decided, instead of looking through all 455 items, I clicked on steel truss bridges, which got me down to a much more manageable 15 items. And I chose this one called Bonner's Ferry Bridge. And they took lots and lots of pictures of all the different details of the bridge, as you can see here. And again, you can go in. This is a close-up picture of the name plaque. But what's also cool, unfortunately, I picked one that does not have a measured drawing, but many of these have measured drawings. So if you wanted if somebody was looking for details about the bridge, they could see that. But one of the other really neat things that they have often are descriptive data and historical records. And I looked at this one, and it's one of a very good example of a certain kind of truss bridge. And it tells you what the present use is. And this one is 28 pages. So it gives you tons of detail about the bridge, context of why the bridge was built. In this case, this bridge was built as part of the Depression era building projects. So this is a great way if you're looking for history, if you're looking for resources. Hab's hair is amazing. What I will point out is that there are additional digital collections. I stayed up at the top, but I will point out, again, you can search by a specific subject. For example, local history and folk life. If you're looking for maps, geography and places, and we'll look at a map in just a second. Well, maybe we'll do that now, but you can go through and see the papers of Abraham Lincoln. See some of the recordings from Alan Lomax and so on. And I've only gone through the first page. But I'm going to go to geography and places. And you can see some of the various maps that are, this various kinds of maps that are available and images that are available. But I'm going to scroll through and click on the Sanborn maps. And you may have experienced the Sanborn maps. We've digitized a small piece of them, but they're wonderful maps that document the changes in a town, document who owns what buildings, what the buildings were made of. And if you're looking at what happened at a specific place or how a community has changed, you can do that. And I'll do Idaho again. And we have 401 that have been made available online. We have over 500 within the collection that relate to Idaho. And again, I just like using the gallery. And I'll pick this particular map. So you could look and see in this particular map from Sites, Idaho, what's there, what's no longer there. If I remember properly, the buildings that are yellow are wood, and the ones that are reddish are brick. So this could, again, you can download and print these materials out if you want to get more detail. Okay. What I'm going to do is go back to the home page. And I'm going to click on our blogs. If you're having trouble finding resources, the blogs can be invaluable in terms of finding what's new here at the library or what's available online. For example, we just posted a bunch of coloring images that you can use, but many of the reading rooms, the Inside Adams focuses in on science, technology, and business. In Custodia Legis is the blog for the Law Library of Congress. The Catbird Seat focuses on poetry and literature. If you're interested in maps, Worlds Revealed is relating to the library's map collections. I'm going to scroll back up and go into the blog that relates to where I spend most of my time, which is Teaching with the Library of Congress. And it happens that this particular day, we highlight our office hours. So we're giving you a little bit of information about our office hours, but you could search for a specific topic under one of our categories. For example, I'll scroll down to young learners. And this is a really cool blog post that one of my colleagues wrote about a large piece of architecture. It's called Lucy. This is Lucy the Margate elephant that's in Margate, New Jersey. And what she did was she went with her kids to see Lucy, which is near where her family home is. And she gave some material about Lucy and encouraged her kids to think about Lucy in different ways, to do observation and why Lucy looks like this, or what's Lucy's function, or things like that. And then she brought in other materials from the library's website. So when we do blog posts relating to teaching, we try to bring in teaching ideas, materials that will help people get deeper into the collections. So I'm going to go back. And now quickly go into the teachers page. And again, these are teacher resources, but they aren't necessarily just for teachers. For example, in our classroom materials, we have something called a primary source set. And these primary source sets bring together images, books, maps, and so on. For example, a favorite of mine is Muddy Jim and Other Rhymes. And this was a picture book that was created at the turn of the century to encourage hygiene and health care for people moving into the cities at that time. And there are cute little rhymes that go along with Muddy Jim. But in addition to having the link to this book, we also have a PDF so that if you want to download and print out the book, you can. And I picked out the children's lives at the turn of the 20th century, but we also have material related to the Civil War, the Harlem Renaissance, the Wright brothers, and we have primary sources by state. This does not mean that we have every primary source that Idaho has, but just a sampling, just to give you a little taste of what we have. And we include photographs, sound recordings, maps, newspapers, and so on. And I will send Annie a list of the URLs that I've provided, so that you can go back and search these at your leisure. Here on the homepage, we do mention the office hours for education, but we also have webinars that we're offering during the course of the summer. The one that's happening on Wednesday is featuring one of our exhibitions on the suffrage movement, because it's the 100th anniversary of women achieving the right to vote. So two of our curators will be talking and highlighting the exhibition as well as other suffrage resources. One of the other ones that may be of interest is going to be on pairing primary sources and picture books, which means you'll be able to see some of the children's book collections that we have here at the library and see how you can combine primary sources for their use. Okay, I'm going back to the home page and I want to show you a few more things and then open it up for questions. I'm going to go up here into this URL, into this little 3-lined item. And you'll see that there are other resources here that you can access. For example, copyright.gov. We are the home of the Copyright Office, and we have information here about searching copyright records, accessing the form so that you or a patron can apply for copyright, find answers to frequently asked questions, learn about copyright, its history, and access some of our publications relating to copyright. And also look at a series of videos that do things like talk about what copyright is, what fair use is, what the public domain is. And these are short videos, I think about 5 or 6 minutes per video. So they're quick, easy, you're able to access. Plus they give you links to some of the circulars that you can download if you're looking for additional information on that topic. Going back to this menu, I'm clicking on Congress.gov. Some of you may have experienced using Congress.gov. This is how you can access legislation for the current Congress and going back to a number of other Congresses. I believe this goes back about 30 years now. So you can search for bills on a specific topic or a specific event. You can look by sponsor. You can look for public laws or the US Code. On days when Congress is in session and you see that the Senate is in session, you can watch a live video. You can also access Congressional Research Service reports, something that was not accessible a while ago. So let's do, oops, tax reform. And it shows you there are a lot of reports relating to tax reform. You can arrange them by relevance or by date. Yes.
How exhaustive is the collection of CRS reports?
I believe, I know they're adding to them regularly. I don't know how far back they're going, but they're planning on adding all of the reports. So not as exhaustive as people would like, but definitely probably going back to at least 2015, 2016. And as you can see, we've got a couple of these that are from May 15th that have just been updated. So they're updating them pretty regularly. So no, I don't think you're going to find something from 1960 or 70, but definitely from the mid to late 2000s, you will definitely find lots of resources. And I know that they're adding more and more and more every day. In addition, you can access the status of a bill, the Constitution annotated, which gives you all sorts of details on court cases relating to constitutional issues, any changes to the Constitution or impacts on the Constitution or bills relating to the Constitution. And over here, we have 9 videos that show how a bill becomes a law. Again, these are relatively short, no more than 5 minutes. And we've heard that these videos are extremely popular with civics teachers and students who are studying for their advanced placement tests. Okay. I want to point out, I clicked on more, that there are other resources here relating to cataloging and classification, library standards, the Poetry and Literature Center, the Veterans History Project, and the National Library Services for the Blind and Print Disabled. So you can learn about different aspects of what is offered by and what we call NLS here. Links to a variety of resources. That may be of interest. Braille and reading materials. And courses for those who are interested in becoming Braille transcribers or people who want to learn more about Braille. The last thing I want to do is you may be shocked that I'm going to YouTube. But I'm going to click on, whoops. I'm going to click on Library of Congress. And we have our own playlist here where you can actually access some of our videos.
Hello, and welcome back to National Book Festival Presents.
I didn't believe that, I wasn't expecting Maria Rania, who is the person who coordinates our literacy resources, to pop up. But you can see some of our curated playlists, our previous live streams, and then additional featured channels. do want to show you two more things that I think are fun, and then I will open us up for questions. I'm going to scroll down to researchers, and I'm going to click on science and technology. And the science and technology reading room provides a ton of wonderful resources, but one in particular is called Everyday Mysteries. And here's the camel to welcome you. So you can go in and browse by category or by featured mystery. And I'm going to click on meteorology and climatology. And there's an article, can you tell the temperature by listening to the chirping of a cricket? And the answer is yes. These questions came from our Ask a Librarian service, and what the staff in the science and technology reading room do is they give you answers to those questions and links to other resources that can help you learn more. Last but certainly not least, I showed it to you once, I'll show it to you again. If you have questions, please use the Ask a Librarian, and we'll be more than happy to answer your questions. If you want to get me, go to Teacher Resources. However, you can go to any of the other reading rooms, and between the hours of 2 to 4 Eastern, the digital collections and newspapers and current periodicals do offer chat where you can do a live chat with a reference librarian. Fair warning, please don't send entire groups there because there's normally only 1 or 2 people working at chat. So curate the questions and encourage people to be gentle with our librarians that are doing chat. So I will stop here and see if you have any questions.
Yeah, there was one question a little bit earlier when we were looking at the Sanborn maps of if it was possible to download those as a PDF. I know it's possible to download those as images and as a TIFF, but they were wondering about downloading as a PDF.
Unfortunately, not yet. It's possible that may happen in the future, but right now we only have the GIF, the JPEG 2000, and the TIFF.
Great, thanks.
No problem. Other questions?
Yeah, if anyone has questions, feel free to type those into the chat box.
If not, I certainly can show a few other things if anyone has any specific excitements. I have not shown you any of the online exhibits, and there's certainly some really nifty things in those online exhibits.
Can someone subscribe for email updates from the Library of Congress?
Yes.
Yes.
If you scroll down to the very, very bottom of the homepage or any of the other pages, you can click on this. And this allows you to subscribe to email, newsletters, and alerts. So you can go to the latest news, Library of Congress blog, the other blogs that are offered, other news and events activities, upcoming events. The Library of Congress magazine, which is actually a pretty cool magazine that highlights specific fun, unique things that are happening at the library. What's new on the web? If you're looking for things on copyright, as you can see, if you really wanted to, you could download things for days and days and days and days and days.
Another question for you. Do you have any search tips or hints for specific formats like finding primary documents or an image?
Okay. First things first, this is the main search box. If you're looking for a specific format, you can use the pull down menu here, and that would allow you to limit to manuscripts or photographs or personal narratives or so on down the line. Another thing that I would recommend is the library may have cataloged materials sometimes 50, 60, 70 years ago and have not gone back and done what's called retrospective conversion to bring them up to date to some of the current cataloging tools or subject headings. So you may want to think deeply about what you're searching for. For example, if you're looking for something on Eleanor Roosevelt, in addition to searching for Eleanor Roosevelt, you may want to search for Mrs. Franklin Roosevelt, because at the time, she may not have been known as Eleanor Roosevelt. She may be known as Mrs. Franklin Roosevelt. Or you may want to think about other terms used for an event or an activity. For example, if you're looking for westward expansion, you may want to look for terms like railroad or manifest destiny or wagon train or things like that, so that you can narrow your searches. The library's website is not it doesn't function like Google. So words like and or nor or not are stop words. They're not searched. However, if you do put quotes around a phrase, it will search as a phrase. So I encourage you to think about that when you're searching. Also, you'll notice when I searched for Idaho, if I search for Idaho now, and I'm just searching in the search box and I don't limit, there's 51,000 items. You're not going to go through 51,000 items. Here, you have another opportunity to limit by format, the original format, by the date that it was created or made available online, by the contributor, or by subject. Now I will go into subject and I will warn you, the default is by number of matches, which I hate with a passion. I changed it to alphabetical. There we go. And that allows you to see a smaller collection and also search by a specific word or phrase or something like that.
We have a question about, could you show the audience how to volunteer to transcribe?
Sure. Okay. I'm going to do it two different ways. If you scroll through what's up here, that's one way to do it. And that gets you to the By the People website. And then you can click on campaigns. and you can choose a specific campaign you might want to work on, like the Blackwells, who were an abolitionist family, or Walt Whitman. There are a few more of his materials. If you speak Spanish, we're looking for people who are willing to translate and transcribe Spanish legal documents. If you love music, Alan Lomax is a great collection to work with. And they're going to be adding more and more and more collections all the time. The other, go ahead.
What about historical films or videos?
Okay, we can do that too. What I would do is, let's see. Oh, okay. I'm going to go into digital collections. And I'm going to go into part of, and you can do motion picture broadcasting and recorded sound collections. And this is going to get you the materials that are available online. For example, I'm going to scroll down a little bit. This is a collection of films from the National Film Registry, and these are in the public domain, so you can search across this collection or go in and look at the specific items. Excuse me. One collection that we're not showing, and I'm going to go back out of the digital collections, go into researchers, and then go into special format and go to moving image. Is I'm going to go to the American Archive for Public Broadcasting. And this is a collaboration between the library and WGBH Broadcasting, which is a PBS station in Boston. And there are a number of amazing films that have been made available online. For example, this interview with Julia Child, or I think they have, if not all, a good hunk of the Watergate hearings that have been digitized and made available online. And then you could also go into recorded sound. And see some of the other materials that are available. I will warn you that some materials are not in the public domain, so you may be able to access the bibliographic record, but not be able to listen to the recording online. And I should also, while I'm thinking about it, point out the Folklife Center, because there are a number of audio recordings and oral histories that are part of the Folklife Center collections. Other questions? I see we're getting close to the end of the hour.
Yeah, it looks like we don't have any more questions, so that's kind of perfect timing.
All righty.
Thank you, Dana, so much. This has been so informative, and I'm so glad that we were able to do this.
Excellent. Glad to be able to work with you guys. Again, if you have questions, please use the Ask a Librarian or if you're shy, contact Annie and she can contact me.
Yes, absolutely.
All righty.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.